NFL Football 94.
This game was Sega's Madden Slayer. NFL Football 94 featuring Joe Montana is remembered as an all-time classic.
Running left. He's down at the 15.
And it's a great game, assuming that you run on every down, that is.
To the 30. He's leveled at the 29.
Unfortunately, this game's passing system is really buggy and it's almost impossible to control.
He puts it up. Picked off. Nice job by the defense.
And the kicking game is just simply awful.
The kick. Puts it up. Takes a bounce and gets it at the 18. Tackled immediately.
You know, I like this game, or at least I like the concept behind it. The play-by-play commentary is amazing for a game that came out in 1993. But the truth is that there are also a lot of problems here, and the more that I play the game, the more flawed it really is. So we're going to do a deep look at NFL Football 94 today, including the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's a lot of ugly. And you can decide for yourself what you think. Alright, first off, let's start with some of the positive aspects of this game.
It's right. He takes it. He's jumped at the 11-yard line.
The most obvious thing is the play-by-play by Lon Simmons, the longtime broadcaster of the San Francisco 49ers.
The Seahawks line up. I can't believe it. Look out. Look out. Running right. He's jumped at the 35.
Now, in real life, his voice sounds something like this.
Montana at quarterback, in motion, comes right, back to throw. Montana steps up, throws, touchdown,
I guess the electronic version is a pretty good representation of his voice.
It's on its way. Yes.
Now the thing is that people don't talk enough about the tradition of football on the radio. I've actually got a really big collection of old football radio broadcasts that go back to the 1930s, and some of them are in excellent condition, others sound like the one you just heard. Anyway, go check out my Patreon page if you're interested. I'm also planning on doing a video or two on the subject sometime in the future, so stay tuned for that. But the key here is that sports talk technology was really way ahead of its time. The Madden series took years and years to catch up. I mean, even Madden 97 on the PlayStation didn't really have the ability to do play-by-play during the game.
First down. Those guys made a hole big enough you could drive a truck through it.
The game can only tell you things like there was a flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play. Incomplete.
Holding. Offense.
It really wasn't until the PlayStation 2 generation that you started to see similar play-by-play in football games. And even then, I would argue that NFL 94's commentary is just as good, if not better.
A great pass. To the 20, 10, into the end zone. The Patriots lead. The score is 13-6.
Now, that Lon Simmons commentary had started in Joe Montana Football 2 years earlier. By NFL Football 94, the programmers had pretty much perfected the art of sticking the commentary into the game. But the other really impressive thing about this game is that it had both the NFL license and the NFL Players Association license. There are no player names at all in the older Joe Montana games.
With 1:37 remaining in the third quarter.
Now, the truth is that you're probably not going to notice it much. There are no player names mentioned anywhere, and I honestly don't even remember seeing the players' numbers come up like they do in the old Madden games. Now, in NFL 94, the game will tell you the name of the players, assuming that their names were actually part of the Players Association, of course.
Second and 16.
Anyway, all in all, this is a pretty nice addition. And the other killer feature, of course, is the fact that there were so many different views available. You know, you could change all sorts of different perspectives. That part alone makes this feel almost like a modern 3D game. So if you want, you can change camera angles in the middle of the game depending on what kind of play you're going to call. In previous versions of the game, it was usually easier to throw from this horizontal perspective. Now, it's not easy to pass no matter what angle you use in NFL 94, but that's a different story. Anyway, just having that option available alone is really, really cool, especially for a game that is this old. I'll admit, though, that it doesn't make much sense to use this defensive view when you're on defense, since you literally cannot see what the offense is doing.
Quick out. A great pass. Good execution. the view from the blimp.
The coolest thing, of course, is that you actually can play from this blimp view. Watch my dot take out the computer's dot.
He's stuffed at the 34-yard line.
Anyway, after messing around with it a little bit, I concluded that you're best off just sticking with this vertical perspective.
Turns on the speed. Look out. Up the middle. He's dumped at the 20.
So it's cool to have that option and all, but the other views really are not all that well done. And this is where we start looking at some of the uglier aspects of NFL Football 94. You know, there's a lot of nostalgia out there for this series and for this game in particular. However, there are some things here that are just really poorly done, and we really do need to talk about it. This game's passing system is horrible. You're supposed to be able to choose your receiver ahead of time, but look at this. My receiver is nowhere near the pass when I finally get the quarterback to throw the stupid ball.
Picked off. Nice job by the defense. Across the...
Now, there are two issues with passing in this game, and both of them are really problematic, more so than in the earlier games of this series. The first problem is pretty big. It's that the controls here are just broken. So if you look in the manual, it tells you that the A button snaps the ball and passes, and that the B button changes your intended receiver. This is repeated multiple times in the manual. The reality is that the A button doesn't do anything when you drop back to pass.
Sacked back a bit far.
I was sacked multiple times simply because the quarterback wouldn't throw the ball.
2nd and 16.
And you know, I'm not kidding when I say that. There is seriously something wrong with the control scheme in this game. The way that it actually works is you've got to push B first and then you push A to pass it, and sometimes that doesn't even work, right? You're supposed to have like the receiver selected, even if you selected the receiver before the play, right? And if the receiver is selected or not doesn't really matter in the end because you can't see where you're throwing the ball. If you try passing in this game, get used to taking tons of sacks.
He's stuffed at the 3.
And then there are plays like this one where pushing A causes the quarterback to hurdle instead of throwing. When I finally pass the ball blindly, the ball is intercepted automatically, and there's not even a player in red on the screen. Seriously, the passing system in this game is a serious problem.
He's sacked. A loss of 8.
So I don't know how they screw this one up so badly. I really don't. I mean, passing was always a problem in these Joe Montana games, right? I mean, problem number 2 here is that you can't see at all where you're throwing the ball anyway, which is a problem with every single one of these games. But the passing system in NFL Football 94 is just really bad. I mean, it's laughably bad. This is like LJN level of incompetence. I mean, in the old games, completing a pass was a miracle, but at least you could sort of see what you were doing.
Puts it up and gets it hit at the 37.
In this game, the quarterback just won't pass no matter what.
Look out. Sack. 2 for the safety. 1:16 remaining in the pass.
Or by some miracle, sometimes he does pass the ball, but the receiver's nowhere close to it.
The pass. It's right. No good. With 7 seconds remaining in the half.
Anyway, the key to this game is to run. You gotta run every down. But really, you have to get rid of that stupid zoom feature. Fortunately, you can turn it off, right? I know that they stuck this thing into this game and this series to like make it look cool or whatever, but seriously, it's really distracting because you have to like have the screen pause so it zooms in and some of the players will change like the place that they're standing. It's just weird. Just turn the stupid thing off. Now, one of the problems is that you have to push the A button to hand the ball off. Otherwise, the quarterback just keeps the ball.
He's sacked. It's 3rd down and 20.
As a result, most of the running plays I end up calling wind up being quarterback
Good
runs.
blocking. Running right. Down at the 34-yard line.
The blocking in this game is also a major problem, especially if you wind up with a broken play, which seems to happen to me every single down.
26.
However, when you turn the stupid zoom off and when you finally figure out the running controls, it's actually pretty easy to break open a huge run back for a touchdown.
Good fire. 30. Get some room. 10. End zone.
If you're unlucky, though, you'll wind up fumbling the ball all over the place. I swear, it's easier to fumble in this game than in any other football game ever made.
Lions recover. The Lions.
Yeah, and then there's the kicking game. The kicking in this game really sucks. It makes no sense to me. I don't know how it works. I will never understand how this works. It just feels broken.
Beautiful day.
You're supposed to push the button at the end of this field that shows up or something.
To the left.
However, it's really easy to make a mistake and hit the button twice, which makes your kick go like 10 yards.
Not very good. Take the bounce. Fumble. Takes the bounce. The Lions recover.
I swear, the kicking system has a mind of its own. Sometimes it just works fine.
It's a good kick.
And other times, it just doesn't work.
The kick. Puts it up. Takes the bounce and gets it at the 18. Tackled immediately.
So again, my advice is to never punt the ball so you don't have to kick. You need to run the ball every single down, and you need to hope that you can somehow get away without ever having to actually kick off. If you do feel like you have to punt, you might as well call for a fake punt, since fake punts in this game are just as overpowered as they were in the earlier Joe Montana games. Anyway, good luck with all of that. Now, there's one other major flaw with this game that is also in all the other Joe Montana football games, and this would be the blocking. Or to put it bluntly, there is no blocking, and I do not know how this happened. So if you look closely here, you will notice that almost nobody on the line bothers to move after the ball is snapped. The easiest way to play defense is to just choose a lineman and literally walk around the blocker.
No good. Brings up 3rd and 21.
As a result, the defense in this game feels overpowered to the point where nobody can gain any yards.
Running left. He's down at the 15. It's 4th and 14.
And see, that's what happens when the offensive controls are fundamentally broken and the defense basically can just sit there and wait for the ball to come to them. It's not realistic at all, and it really takes a lot of the fun out of it. Now, I know this was 1993. It's not like there were tons and tons of awesome football games out there to compete with this one, but some of the competitors were actually better. Honestly, blocking in Madden has always sucked, and it sucks today. Just about everything on offense in Madden 94 on the Genesis is awkward, and it's way too easy to play unstoppable defense.
Interception.
Bill Walsh College Football on the Genesis has the exact same problem, and the players look like they're walking up and down the field. But hey, at least Mutant League Football had blocking schemes and patterns that sort of made sense. And Tecmo proved that you actually can make a football game where the line makes a difference. Seriously, Tecmo Super Bowl on the Genesis is easily the most underrated football game of 1993. So to be honest, I really don't think that we can just give Sega a pass for not figuring out basic things like, blocking in its football game. The play-by-play is really cool, that's fine, right? The graphics look all right, I think it looks better than Madden, that's pretty good. But there are a lot of other problems with this game. There were a lot of things that they needed to fix, they needed to improve. And this is where we come to the ugly part, which is the aftermath of this game. Every single video game magazine was full of praise for NFL Football 94. Look at this, Electronic Gaming Monthly's only criticism is that the play-by-play can be annoying, which is ridiculous. The play-by-play is literally the best feature of this game. Game Players said that the game was fantastic. There is a little mention here of how hard it is to pass, though this is an understatement. But this 93% score is like amazing. And of course, GamePro basically called this game the Madden Slayer. Look at this, it got a perfect score. Anyway, you would think that Sega would look at what they had and decide to hold on to the formula since it was working, the game was popular, and that it would try to replicate its success, right? You would think that a normal person in the situation would say, well, let's hold on to what works in this game and let's work a little bit on these features that don't work. Instead, Sega decided to throw away the stuff that was good and to double down on all the stuff that didn't work. And I just don't get it. Now, the real culprit was the Sega CD version, which came out a few months before NFL Football 94, and I mean, this game is just awful. Passing in this game is literally impossible, and the stupid camera keeps changing position all the time. This is honestly one of the worst football games of all time. Take this play for example. I actually fumble and lose possession at the end of the play, and the game doesn't even acknowledge it. Now, the worst part of all is that they got rid of the announcer voice. Like, why, right? I've been saying this whole time, this is really the key feature of this franchise. This is the thing that has people talking about this game now. It's been, 30 or whatever years afterwards, right? When you get to NFL Football 95, which came out the next year, the announcer voice is just gone. And the game plays like the Sega CD game, the one that everyone hated, right? What, did like the managers of this project forget to take their stupid pills or something? I mean, NFL 95 doesn't look that bad at first glance, sure, but they somehow figured out a way to make the kicking system even worse. The graphics are better, but the play-by-play audio is completely gone, which makes this game no fun at all. Even the computer has a hard time with the kicking mechanics in this game, which is kind of hilarious. The controls on offense are horrendous, and as usual, nobody knows how to block. And if you choose the wrong player to target, you will accidentally turn a passing play into a running play, which is just bizarre in and of itself. Anyway, this is why I call this the ugly part. I mean, like I said, they should have worked on fixing a few problems and like patching the game up a little bit. Instead, they removed the only thing that was working well and focused instead on all of these stupid ideas that never worked to begin with, and this killed the franchise. Not even the Sega Saturn could save this franchise. In fact, if anything, this game made everything worse. It took me a while to realize that I needed to use the X, Y, and Z buttons to pass, not A, B, and C. And it honestly feels like this game was made by somebody who didn't like football. It could have been so much better. For some reason, the programmers decided to ignore the things that made the franchise good, and instead they doubled down on these stupid cute ideas like having, I don't know, like the camera angled differently when you snap the ball if it's a pass or whatever, so you get lost, right? These ideas went absolutely nowhere. They didn't even test it out. This is how the franchise died, and it wasn't until NFL 2K that Sega finally got it right again. So despite its obvious problems, there are still some things to like about NFL Football 94.
It's a fake. Quick out. Intercepted. Out of bounds. That stops the clock.
With a little bit of polish, they could have helped this series reach its full potential.
Look out. He sweeps left. Across the 40, 50, down on the 48.
Unfortunately, though, NFL Football 94 is the last game in this series that I recommend trying. Every game after this one is just a waste of your time.
Second down and 8.
And even still, it's not exactly a great game. Now, at first, I thought I could easily call this the best in the series, and I've probably said that in prior videos. After playing this game a little bit more, though, I'm starting to think that it really isn't that great. But, I mean, I don't know. After seeing all of this, what do you guys think?